Hi guys, today let's do some propagating. I just did a rose and salvia propagating video. You guys loved my different method, and I'm going to share with you how I propagate some panicle hydrangeas along with a little update on other things that I've propagated. And also I'll probably take a few cuttings of this pineapple sage and share how I do that. So let's get to propagating our panicle hydrangeas. Now this is June, the first week of June. I think this is the 8th or 9th of June. And this is a perfect time for me because of the new growth, soft growth of the panicle hydrangeas. Now these I took cuttings and they're starting to wilt a little bit, but that's okay. They will recover. These ones I took just now, so they're looking a little more firm. So we're going to propagate these. I'll show you a little clip of me taking the cuttings in a minute. First, I have to prepare my mix that I'm going to put them in once I've put it in the pots. So first, I have my bulk compost. You can get a potting soil, a good draining potting soil, and use it. But I buy the bulk compost from a local turkey farm, and because I do so much with it, I mulch with it. I spread it on my beds as a side dress because it's a slow release fertilizer. Now, even though this has been composted, you see there's some big sticks in it. That's not a big deal. If I wanted to use it as is, I could. But I'm just going to go ahead and strain those out. I think I have enough in here. And then I'm going to add a bit of perlite. So as I'm pouring this perlite, because it's so dry, I'm going to spritz some water. Whoops, I have it on stream instead of spray. Okay. This just helps it from getting too much in the air. Okay. Definitely going to have to add more dirt to that. It's kind of hard to do it with one hand. Okay, I'm just going to spritz it because I don't want to breathe it in. Now this perlite has Miracle Grow in it. I'm not a big fan of synthetic fertilizers. And you definitely don't need it when you're propagating plants, but it was all the hardware store had that was near me. I didn't want to have to drive half an hour to another one to get a different brand that didn't have it in it. So we're going to make do. It's not the end of the world. It won't harm anything. It's just my personal preference. So I'm going to get my scooper, get a little bit more soil because that was way too much perlite. I go for like a half and half mix, if that. In my video with the roses and salvias, I used horticultural sand as well. And usually it's like 50% compost, 50% perlite, not 50%, but like 25% perlite, 25% sand, whatever. You don't have to use the sand. I just prefer using it. And if you don't have perlite, you can use just the half sand and half the compost. So let's see what we got going here. So I'll stir gently, just in case I don't have it moistened completely. And I kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be a perfect ratio. I just want it to be well draining, but still moisture retentive. And all that. To me, this has just a little bit too much perlite. I'm going to go for some more potting soil, or compost, I should say. After a while, you kind of get a feel for what it should look like for your specifications. And if you wanted to do this, try to do this in straight compost, go right ahead. Test it out. You never know what you find works for you. There's one thing, there's no hard and fast rules in gardening. Okay, so let's stir this a little bit more. That's looking better. Now, one thing the beneficial about the perlite, because I had vermiculite here, is the perlite will actually holds oxygen, which is very important. Oh yeah, that looks much, much better. So I don't know if you can see this very well. Maybe I should hold it up to you a little bit more. But see that? Okay. So let's go out and get some cuttings. Now I find the shrub I want to take from, and then I go down about 2 leaf nodes from the tip, and then I take a cutting. And then I'll take several cuttings so that I have plenty of material, and that increases my success. So then I bring them into the greenhouse, and you'll notice here it's about a 5-6 inch piece, and here's one leaf node, here's a second leaf node, and here's the tip. This is also a leaf node here if you want to get technical. Now if you have a deeper pot, this is probably perfect. Or you could go a little bit deeper where you get both leaf nodes underneath the surface. So this one, you see how this is getting pretty stiff down here? Still flexible, but not as flexible up here. Many times, like with the salvias, the tip cuttings do best. So that is what I will do this time. Is I probably will go with cutting these off. To get it below the surface, it looks like I would have to cut below that. So you know what? For that one, I am really going to go get a deeper pot just because I want 2 leaf nodes underneath the surface. Many times they will root from the leaf nodes, and so if you have 2 leaf nodes at different intervals on the stem, you will have better success. So I have some deeper pots that I can use. Now these are just recycled pots. You can see different plants I got in them. And being a little bit deeper, I can get both leaf nodes under the surface. So first of all, let's see, I'll take one of the floppy ones to get it in here. And I'm going to cut it off real close to the leaf node. I'm going to cut off the leaves down here, one of the leaves up here, or 2 of the leaves up here. I will cut one leaf in half, and that reduces transpiration. One moment. Okay, let us fill this with the soil. Now, I just showed you how to remove the leaves. I'll do that on all of them. I have this filled up to within 1/2 inch of the top. These are kind of firm, kind of not. Now I showed you how I did it with the cuttings of the roses and the salvias, and I didn't moisten it. I'm going to moisten this because when I put a divot hole in, it remains open, and it just makes it easier. So I'm going to get that dish to put under it, and then we will go ahead and do that. So a small catch tray dish. I'm going to get the water. So what I'm going to do is just moisten it till it runs through, and then I let it sit in the water that goes through to the catch tray because it doesn't always moisten all of the potting soil right away. It has to pull more back up after it's gone through. It still hasn't gone through. Oh, it's dripping out now. Okay, so I think that's moistened it enough. Let me get it level again. I'm just pounding it down a little bit. Not too firm. You just want to make it where it's slightly tamped down. Okay, so now we are going to get us some rooting hormone. Rooting hormone is not absolutely necessary, but it does hasten or speed up the rooting process. This one is just a rooting powder, Biotone 2 or 1. Let me put my glasses on. And 2. Rooting hormone. Now this is not the one that's super powerful like the Hormex 8 that I use for my rose cuttings. It's not necessary for this. So we'll go ahead, pull out the one that I got all of the leaves off of. Now I'm dipping my paintbrush in this, and I am just painting it on the stem, the tip at the end, and especially on the leaf nodes. Now I'm going to get my little dauber, which I use a Sharpie, and I just push it down in there. And because the soil is moist, the hole stays open. So then I push this down in there. It didn't quite go past the second leaf node, so I'm going to push further. There. Now that I've watered it, the soil's kind of gone down, so I can add a little bit more around the top, and that makes sure that that leaf node, that second leaf node that's close to the top, is covered. And I'll do that with all of these. Oh, doggone it. Just dropped my paintbrush. Okay, I'm going to do that all the way around. We're going to take one of these that has not been flopping as much, and I'm just going to take the leaves off. This one, see, this is a leaf node. In fact, I will cut that closer to the leaf node. That way. There's a leaf node, and there's a leaf node. The top leaves I can cut either off or just in half, and there we got it. Now, like I said previously, if I wanted to count this as a leaf node and that as a leaf node, I could. And in fact, I'll do a couple that way so you can see. But I wanted these to be a bit longer just for the hay of it. Okay. I just paint loosely with the paintbrush. Put that down in there. It's not quite far enough. All right, so now we're going to do the rest as closer to the tips. It's a good test. We'll see which one does better. So, okay, this one is automatically shorter with the leaf nodes closer together. But we'll do like I said. I am going to, see I cut off that bottom leaf node. Cutting off the leaves again. Now when you take these cuttings from the tips, many cut times it can delay blooming by a little bit. It's not a big deal. But other ones that you didn't cut from will bloom earlier, then you'll just get a staggered bloom, more staggered. All right, you see how there's one leaf node here, one there, dusting it liberally and poking a hole with my pen and get it down there, and you cover it to where even that upper leaf node is covered. So we'll do that one, and we'll do another one. We've got one more after this, and then we're done with these. And I want to share with you some cuttings I've done from other plants and what they're looking like right now. Okay. Now, I don't always bother putting a humidity dome over it. A lot of times where if I set this outside, I'll have it in an area that stays damp, where the soil underneath stays damp. And then that provides the humidity you need without putting a dome on it. The dome can tend to create an atmosphere that encourages mildew and rot. So many times if you can get away with not putting a dome on it, it helps to prevent those. Okay, there's this one. This is the last one of these. Now when I've put it into the container, you notice I've been putting them around the rim, the outside edge. And that is said because it's supposed to dry out faster around the edge, and it prevents them from rotting from getting too much moisture. That one's just not wanting to go down. Okay, so there, we got that one all covered up. Now we'll watch this and keep an eye on it. I could keep it here in the greenhouse, but it gets pretty stinking hot in here. And though it's only going to be 70 degrees today, in 2 days it's going to be 90 degrees. So that means in here is going to be cooking hot. So this will go out next to my studio cottage, Primrose Cottage, and that area is where my hostas are. It's shady, gets a little bit of morning sun, so it'd be perfect for these to get going there because it stays a little bit cooler. It's moist because of the hosta area. The ground stays moist, so it's humid, and it's perfect conditions for this. So you don't need a greenhouse, and I don't necessarily need a humidity dome. So there's that. Now that is my Paniculata Hydrangea cuttings. And we'll watch it. We'll come back and check on them. So this and this is cuttings from a reblooming or ever blooming hydrangea that I have. And I wanted to share with you something really cute. I took these cuttings last summer, fall. So it shows you that you can take these throughout the season. The Panicle Hydrangea right now, the tops is when they're really soft. This one, I think I had pruned it a little bit, and then when it put out new green growth, I took the cuttings. Right now, these need to be watered desperately, but see how this is taken off? Look at how pretty that is doing. And then this one actually is trying to bloom. So what I'm going to do, I think, let me check this. Well, it's got a little bit of roots, but I think I'm going to put it up into a little bit larger pot, and then it can get going even better. So I have a square pot or a 4-inch bigger pot. We're at 1 minute. I don't necessarily want one deeper. So this way it can spread out some roots, but keep on growing. Now this mix would be perfect for this too. I could add a little bit more of the compost if I want to, but this is fine. So that is great. We'll get that watered. So that's an update on those hydrangeas. And then I wanted to update you. So I did the cuttings of the dahlias a few months ago. So here they are. They're all doing pretty good. This one right here, down here, that's staying tiny, that one got spider mites really bad. And I gave it a good spray of my Systemica, the rosemary clove oil spray, and it got rid of them. So now maybe it'll have a chance. But these two are doing really well. And the two empty slots are these that I potted up probably a month ago. Look how much bigger they have gotten just because they got the room they needed. So these two, I'll check the roots. I usually look at the bottom to see if the roots are coming through, and then I know that it's a good time to pot it up. So I may go ahead and put those in gallon pots. I may put those out in the garden, and these are going to get some of these pots. And so I'll pot those up into that. So another thing, what was it I was showing? I think those two were the propagation. Now this is a sage. This is a pineapple sage. So it's the same as really like I did the salvias because they're in the same family. But I'm going to do that like I did those. I'm going to take a tip cutting, cut the leaves off, cut these leaves in half, and then I'm going to take my paintbrush, brush it on there. These aren't very long, so I think I can just poke them down in there. Oh yeah, it's very loose, so I got that one. So I'll do a couple more. Now one of these, I should say the mother of this, is out in the garden. A friend gave it cuttings to me. I rooted them. And yeah, it's overwintered. I didn't know if it would or not. That's why I made sure took cuttings to bring in to overwinter. So that was great. I was happy that it did overwinter for me. Let's see another one. So, what have you propagated? Did you see my one with the roses and the salvia? That one was a little bit different. That would work for these too, the way I did that one. I have another terracotta pot setup that I want to propagate some other roses. I saw online, somebody asked me about my Dreamweaver rose, and they said that they couldn't find it except at one place, and it was like $100 and something. And I was like, whoa. So I'm going to take cuttings of my Dreamweaver and get it going. It is a fantastic bloomer. It blooms big sprays all summer long. It's continuous blooming. And yeah, it's just one of my favorites. It doesn't seem to have a scent, but it makes up for it in blooms. All right. Alrighty then. Okay, there is the pineapple sage cuttings. I will water this in well and all of that. Okay, let me move it over here. And here are some, I had to buy coleus. I usually grow them from seed. For some reason this year mine just did not work well. I'm going too many things here. And so I bought some. The 6-pack was at a local garden center for really relatively inexpensive, under $5, I do believe. And so I just picked it up and thought, I can do cuttings from this. There's nothing that roots easier than these cuttings of this. So I'm go ahead and I'll take some and I'll just stick them in this cup of water to start rooting, and then I'll pot them up. Now remember, water roots are much more tender than roots that are grown in soil. So once I pot them up, if they root in the water first, it's going to take a while for them to acclimate to potting soil, but that's okay. We'll just get this rolling here. And one thing about taking cuttings like this is it makes the plant bushier. And since you're not worried about flowers, you're not worried about delaying bloom like you would other things. Okay, so that is it. That is taking cuttings of panicle hydrangeas. I did the macrophylla hydrangeas the same way. Actually did them later in the summer. And my pineapple sage, which these get really big if they love your garden. So that's another one. So I have done it. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and go ahead and try to propagate some panicle hydrangeas of your own, or even some macrophylla hydrangeas, and carry on. Now I have seen where people have done leaf cuttings of the macrophylla hydrangeas. I have not been successful with that, and this works so well that I don't bother. So with something that didn't work for me, but I'm sure there's a lot of people it did work for. Might have been just something I did. So, all right, I will see you in my next video, and go on back and watch my rose cutting video. I will link it in the description box because it really shows you a different way that you may not have seen before that has really, really been successful for me. And you don't have to worry about how often to water, etc. It just works. All right, so I'll see you in my next video.